Hey everyone, this is Cradiac. Thanks for stopping by. This is the latest work log progress of my project. It'll be a short video because there's not too much progress that's been made. So the last video or two, I can't remember which one, I had actually shown the board. I had tested it with just a test screen that I had, and it was working okay, powered up and everything. So after I had done that video, I had taken off the this port right here. I had taken that off of here because I was going to be putting this, wiring it up in the housing at some point and relocating this. And I needed to test it again after I took it off, so I went ahead and wired it similar to how I've got it wired right now, just so I could plug it in and test it. And I accidentally wired this backwards, so right now I've got it, wired up this way. Well, I had it wired up backwards on the top of the board, so basically what it did is it reversed the polarity, and I didn't realize it. And whenever I was testing it, I was actually in the middle of doing a work log video on my progress, and I was like, alright, let's start it up and see if it's working, and then it didn't work, and I was like, what did I do? So I then went on this big, long troubleshooting process of trying to figure out where the problem was, because at that point I had no idea that I wired this backwards, and went through a couple different regulator boards, and I just did a whole bunch of stuff, and then finally I was consulting some help with Mad Morta, and she pointed out the fact that I had this wired on backwards. So it was blowing the fuses on my regulator boards, and then one of the regulator boards actually doesn't work. Even after replacing the fuse, still doesn't work. So, but I do have two that are working. So unfortunately, in the process, I'm not sure if it was related to that or something different, I've got a short in this board. So I've got a short between the 1.9 volt leads and the 3.3 volt leads. Not all of them, but a couple of them. Over, where is it? Right here. Sorry. Right here. So I'm trying to figure out if I can fix that, but as of right now, I've sanded everything down on the sides to make sure that the layers aren't touching. I've done a bunch of different stuff. So at this point, I may have to get another motherboard. Not the end of the world. They're only about 10 or 15 bucks, but anyways, I've just kind of had to put the board on pause right now. And I had done some more wiring here in preparation for getting the controller connected. So right now, I'm just putting this on the back burner and been focusing primarily on this. And one telltale sign, and I think this is what kind of cued Mad Morta into the fact that I had the polarity reversed on this, in case anybody else has this issue, is once I connected the fan wasn't spinning. And the fan doesn't go through the regulator, it goes directly off of the voltage source. Since it's a 12 volt fan, it was heating up, but it wasn't running. I think that should have been a sign. I also noticed that the voltage was reading negative 12 volts instead of positive 12 volts, and I just ignored it, and that should have been a red flag too, that it was reversed. So anyways, moving on to the case, I've put a few things in since last time. I believe last time the only thing that I had done was I had cut out the spot for the screen and epoxied it in. Now I've also got the controller piece in, and just a reminder for those of you who didn't know or haven't seen, I've actually taken a OEM GameCube controller, and I've cut out different parts of the housing to put in here. That way it looks a little bit cleaner once I get done with everything, because if I had tried to cut these nice little octagonal shapes in here and these little oblong oval shaped buttons, it wouldn't have looked very good. I wouldn't have been able to make it look as nice as the way it's in the controller. So what I'm doing, and you can especially see with this one, is I'm cutting out big sections of it and then just filling it in with epoxy, and you can kind of see sections like that where it's got the epoxy filled into those gaps. So once I get those in, I'm going to sand it down, and then once I've got that on there, I'm going to put Bondo in, fill in all the gaps, make it look real nice and pretty. Basically, that's what I did with the screen for the last portable that I made. I'm just doing it with the buttons on this one as well. So I've just got kind of a pilot hole started here. This is going to be where the C-stick is. I'm not using the D-pad, so I won't have to worry about that. And then for the top of it, so this section right here is where this little piece is going to be, and I've already got these. I did the same thing here. I just cut out part of a controller here and then epoxied them in, and then I've started the process of bonding those in and sanding them down. And that is from an old USB Logitech controller that I had. So the triggers are up here. I just cut those out of the housing, and actually you can see it on here. This is where they used to be, so I just use a Dremel to cut those out. And then I cut a hole out and then epoxied them in. I thought this would be a little bit easier. The way that the triggers are on the GameCube controller is a little ridiculous. I mean, it looks cool and it feels nice, but if I wanted to put this whole thing in there, I mean, it's kind of huge compared to this. I mean, it's not very big at all. And the way that the buttons are on this thing, this is where I've got all my controller pieces, is just on a little guy like that. So I can just wire these directly to the controller board, which I've already got all prepped and ready to go. So it'll look pretty nice. So this is what it will look like whenever they're in there. And I'll probably fill in the gaps on the buttons themselves, so that way, because these were all numbered. All the buttons on the Logitech controller were numbered, so I'll probably fill that in so it's nice and smooth, because I don't want, and it's actually, I have it upside down compared to how it was in the controller, so I don't want to have some upside down 5s and other numbers on there. So, but it'll look a lot nicer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Z button right here, and then L and R, and then this is actually going to be mapped to the start button is what I think I'm going to do, because I don't want to have to drill another hole in here for the start button. I just think it'll be nice and easy to have it there. So anyways, so that's pretty much where I'm at. I said there's going to be a short video. I lied because I talked too much, but that's pretty much where I'm at. So I'm probably going to, I think it's the 23rd of the month right now. I'm probably going to wait till next month to get another board, and then I'll go ahead and get all of that back to where I need it. I'm going to try to find a Rev C board from the DOL 101 GameCube, because then I don't have to fool with that stupid regulator that caused me all this problem. Granted, it was my fault, but still, if I can get away with having to not deal with that, that'd be great. If I do, not a big deal now that I know what I did wrong. So I'm going to work on that next month. In the meantime, I'm going to try to finish this case up. I've got plenty of time to work on it, and I've got a lot of work to do on it, so I'm going to just work on that, and we'll see where that takes me. So anyways, thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate you checking out the video. If you have any questions or anything like that, or any ideas that I should be, working on, just let me know in the comments. Talk to you later.